I felt inspired to do this video because there's so much activity going on astrologically right now, and I just felt compelled to speak. There's a lot to do in this time, and speaking and doing sometimes conflict with one another, but I felt the need to speak on this topic: spiritual warfare, spiritual protection, and 6 planets retrograde. A lot of people don't understand. Those of us who study metaphysics and esoteric sciences know that before anything happens in the physical realm, it happens in the spiritual realm. There's a spiritual correspondent to everything, even if it's an illness. The illness doesn't create the problems. There's a spiritual component that creates the illness. Everything has a spiritual correspondent, a spiritual precedent that takes place before it culminates in the physical world. So when we think about warfare, we think about people, going to bat, opponents, people who are out to destroy, or entities or energy that's just in opposition. So when you think about warfare or challenges or battles that you face in the physical world every day, you have to take into consideration the corresponding events in the spirit realm. If this video is not for you, then it's not for you. If you're like, I don't understand, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't subscribe to that, then whether it's Instagram, Netflix, I don't care. Well, you might even you might be on Friendster, I don't know. But there's so many other places that you can navigate on the internet, and this video is just clearly not for you. But if the video is for you, then thank you for listening, because I'm only going to speak on what I'm inspired to share. Words are important, and they should not be wasted. So spiritual warfare, what I was saying was that when there's any sort of battle or opposition that you face, I don't care if you're trying to stop smoking and everywhere you go they're selling cigarettes, so that shows up as a battle, an internal battle that you're fighting in your life. So any battle that you face, so even if it's people, you know what I mean? Maybe, you have a certain set of goals. I'm sure a lot of us do, a lot of, aspirations, things that we want to accomplish. And there are people in your life who maybe they speak against it, or they, try to downplay your accomplishments, or however opposition plays out in your life. It occurs as spiritual battle first before physical warfare. And in this time where all of these planets, all of the planets, that's pretty much the entire zodiac, is affected right now. If you're an Aries or you're a Scorpio, your ruler, Mars, is retrograde. If you're a Pisces, Neptune, your ruler, is retrograde. If you're a Virgo or a Gemini, Mercury, your ruler, is retrograde. Everyone is affected by, I would say, the entire zodiac is affected, because all of us have different placements in our charts anyway. So these planets affect those various placements, and we're all interacting with one another. Some of us have soul contracts, so we have deeper stories to play out with one another. So I would venture to say that everyone is being affected by these particular transits. So with 6 planets being retrograde, and you think about opposition and battles and challenges, and the fact that you're being pushed to new heights within yourself, you're being pushed to new levels, and as many people say, new levels, new devils, that speaks to the idea of spiritual warfare. The reason why you have to take into account that spiritual warfare is so, you have to consider it when you think about what you deal with in the physical, in the 3rd dimensional realm, dealing with time and space in your body, in this plane. But you take into consideration the spiritual warfare that occurs in those other realms. You have to say to yourself, am I my own worst enemy? There are people and other places and situations that can play out opposing you, but the key is to vibrate so high that not only are other entities able to attack or subject you to whatever negative forces that they emit. When you keep your vibration high, you are your own best protection at that point. Also, when you're vibrating low, and this video is not going to be on 20 ways to keep your vibration high. I mean, that's a whole nother topic. That's the thing, when you go into that, you can address. But keeping your vibration high, keeping your spirits up, making sure that you emit high frequencies. You know, the North Node has been in Leo. The Leo is a sign of the heart. The North Node only has 5 degrees left in Leo. And then it's going to go into Cancer. So since 2017, and I did a video on this like maybe a couple weeks ago, anybody who saw it, the North Node in Leo said, activate your heart chakra. You have lower chakras that you use all the time when you're horny or when you're hungry or when you're in survival mode or whatever. You have upper chakras, your heart, your throat, your third eye, and your crown. Those upper chakras aren't working, or they're not really operating, or you don't really express yourself or utilize those chakras in how you move as a being, then you're not vibrating high. So we have a couple more months of the North Node being in Leo, and the message was activate your heart chakra, meaning that everything you do, your heart should be the centerpiece. That should be your GPS. It's not like you do everything else in life and then you're like, okay, well, let me go back and check in with my heart. You know, my mind said this person said that, you know, I have those beliefs or whatever. Okay, but let me check in with my heart last. No, your heart was supposed to be the go-to, the main deciding factor in everything you do. That was what the North Node was in Leo was about, and it's almost that transit is almost finished. So if you have an active heart chakra, active throat chakra, active third eye, pineal gland, crown, those upper chakras are active, then more than likely you emit a high vibration. You are a high frequency being, and when you are a high frequency being, you are your best protective force in the line of spiritual warfare. If you are a low vibrating being, which we can be from time to time, we don't stay in one frequency all the time. We elevate, we descend, go back up. You know, it happens. We're beings that emit different frequencies. But for the most part, if you allow yourself to succumb to lower energies, however that plays out, could be somebody in your ear, could be the things you expose yourself to. If you know you can't watch horror movies because the next 3 nights after that you're going to have bad dreams, depending on how your chart is set up. Some of us, you know, have heavy Pisces in our charts. Dreams play a big role in our lives. However it is, if you allow your frequencies to be low, or you emit low frequencies, you are subject to attack. And you can be used to destroy other people, other things, and to destroy yourself, because you're an open vessel at that point for frequencies and energy sources to occupy your space. If anybody's watching this video, I can't see you. I'm using a gimbal because I just wanted to see the quality. I'm shooting in 4K, 60 frames per second, so I had to see how this looks. Just some of my old tech Virgo ascendant geek shit. Okay. But anyway, back to the point. If you allow your frequency to, if you operate at frequencies that are low, based on the choices you make in your life, who you associate with, the things that appeal to you, whatever it is, you're an open vessel. You're an open vessel to be used as a tool for destructive things and destructive forces. And the reason why I titled this video Spiritual Warfare and 6 Planets in Retrograde is because retrograde motion, if a planet in retrograde motion, allows us the opportunity to reassess, readjust, reconstruct, totally burn, rip to pieces, throw away, whatever, or totally restore, bring back to life, however it plays out in your particular story. It gives you an opportunity to redo. You know, it's really like kind of simple. It's like when the teacher told you to do a math problem and you came up, you know, with an answer that was incorrect. So the teacher said, do it over until you get it right. You know, because math doesn't have two right answers. There's only one correct answer in math. So ultimately, you do it over. The universe, with that many planets being retrograde, the universe is like, do it over. Not, well, I don't make mistakes. No, the universe is like, oh, yes, you do. You do. So, not saying we're imperfect, flawed beings who deserve to be chastised. It's not even like that. It's just the fact that we operate in our actions and in our movements. We operate sometimes with different intentions, different motivations, and they change based on information that comes to you. That's the beauty of a Mercury retrograde. It provides information. Mercury is the information planet. You know, it's a hermaphrodite. It's actually not really male or female energy, unlike the other planets. So it just provides information, just like in a thermometer. That element in the thermometer is called mercury, and mercurial means to move quickly. So that's what Mercury does. It provides information. So you're getting puzzle pieces and you're getting missing pieces that were not there during a Mercury retrograde. There's 3 phases. The first phase goes forward, goes back, and then comes back again when it's direct. And in each of those phases, you have access to information that you didn't have. That's why it's a blessing. Neptune retrograde. Neptune retrograde, you know, Neptune is governs Pisces and the subconscious, the dream realm, all things creative, musical, film, and on the low end, it's addictions, delusions, illusions, things that are not what they so appear to be. Unfortunately, during this Neptune retrograde transit, I've heard of several people who have overdosed on substances and died. A Neptune retrograde, especially in trine to Jupiter, which expands everything, is not the time to use substances irresponsibly. It's just not. So this might be a time to reassess your issue with that. Well, not might be. I would say it definitely is, if that is the case. So just some, broad examples there. Mars likes to charge forward. Mars retrograde, not really comfortable for Mars. Mars doesn't like to hold back, but it has no choice because Saturn, which is also retrograde, which is a discipline and karma and structure planet, told all of these planets what to do. Saturn is in charge, okay? So this is not a planetary class right here. I can actually provide that if need be. I teach many things, music being one of them, and astrology is another one. So if you want some more information, you can definitely reach out to me. I'm accessible. But all of that to say, with these planets being retrograde, Pluto retrograde, dealing with your control issues, your desires, how much do your desires take over your entire life? Which desires need to throw away because you've outgrown them? Whatever it is, like I said, these planets are retrograde, and it gives you an opportunity to assess your intentions, your motivations. It gives you an opportunity to assess your goals, gives you an opportunity to see where your head is. Because with the universe saying, take this time to assess exactly what you've done and see if you really want to go that route, you're really becoming your own best spiritual protection. When these retrogrades are over, you should have a whole different state of awareness and consciousness where you are your best friend. You are that soulmate you're looking for. When you pay $30 for that reading because you want to know where your soulmate is at, guess what? You became your best soulmate because you got information and understanding and growth and knowledge that you didn't have 2 months ago. So now you are your best soulmate. You know what I'm saying? And when you're your best soulmate, then the person who can reflect that can show up. But that's a whole nother video. And it's a lot of things to do. I've been making a lot of videos. But all of that to say, check in with your frequency. Check in with your frequency. Check in. If your heart is the last thing that you check in with when you make a decision, then you haven't been obeying the North Node in Leo, because that was the instruction. You know what I mean? the reason why I believe all of these retrogrades are happening right now in Leo season, you know, because like I said, everybody's planetary ruler pretty much is retrograde. Like, you're a Capricorn, your ruler, Saturn is retrograde. If you're a Scorpio, your ruler, Pluto, is retrograde. Now, the sun never goes retrograde and the moon never goes retrograde. So you say, well, the sun rules Leo and the moon rules Cancer, so it's not affecting Cancers. Not true. Not true. Even though Leo's, your ruler, is never retrograde, all of those planets are aspecting everything that is currently transiting the house of Leo. Everything is affecting everything. You know, even though the moon never goes retrograde, does that mean Cancers are not being affected? Of course they are. Pluto and Saturn are in Capricorn, opposite Cancer, which was the 7th house of partners and relationships. You know what I'm saying? So everybody is being affected. So on that note, I would say, in terms of worrying about where the opposition is coming from and who doesn't have your back and who's out, you know, for this or that, and the way spiritual warfare shows up, because it's real. I'm not saying it's imaginary. I'm not saying it's in your imagination. That don't want me to do this video right now because somebody from this video is getting information that they needed. And it's going to take them on a whole nother direction other than the direction they may have been headed, which was going to lead them down a path of pain and heartbreak or confusion and wasted time or lost money or whatever. So there are forces that do not want us to win. Don't get it. Light workers, healers, there are forces that don't want us to win. Speaking of Neptune retrograde, and like I said, if I can't see you, I apologize, because this device doesn't show chat or anything. But Neptune retrograde, again, the low expression of Neptunian energy is illusions and delusions. There's so much artificial healing going on. There's like, so I've seen Shouts of Ptah and Astro Pluto Queen. They just posted I saw yesterday where their slogan for the Afro Astrology page. She was advertising readings. Listen, healing, it's Neptune retrograde. Be careful with that, because spirituality is like pop culture now. You know what I'm saying? Esoteric sciences are pop. Everybody can tell you they know where to give you the elements you need to heal yourself, and it's just not facts. It's just not facts. It's just like if you say, well, I want to see people healed. I want to heal people. So someone comes to you and says that they got gallstones. They got pain in their gallbladder. They got gallstones. You say, well, I want to heal people, and I got a knife in my purse right now. So what I'm going to do is go get my knife and cut those gallstones out for you to end your pain, because I'm a healer. You would never trust anyone to do that. You would never have the confidence for someone to take a dirty knife and to cut your skin open to extract gallstones so that you could be quote unquote healed. You would trust someone who invested years of time and study and was professional and knowledgeable. Astrology is from some people, you know, have their argument about it being a pseudoscience. It is absolutely not that to me. It is geometry, it is calculus, it is mathematics. There are angles, equations. People have to know how to delineate. They have to know how to predict, not just through empathy, as I saw Everest, excellent cosmophysician astrologer. He said, you know, you can delineate and you can deduce through empathic means, which is I feel this. You can conclude information, but there are precise ways to calculate, and you can evolve into being a predictive astrologer. All that to say, the same way you would not trust someone to cut out a tumor because they told you that they were, hello, how are you? Where'd I get it from? Best Buy. Yeah. So, oh, thank you. Have a nice day. So, that's what happens when you emit a high frequency. People vibe off your energy. That's what you got to do. Stay in the light. Stay in the light. But just as you wouldn't trust someone to cut out a tumor because they told you they were a healer, and then you end up with some type of infection that you can't heal and die because they used a rusty knife or whatever, you wouldn't trust someone like that. Please stop trusting people with your spiritual healing. your mental enlightenment. Stop. Like, do the research. People out here got resumes. They got track records. They're very, very accomplished, knowledgeable, successful people who have been instructed by the universe to heal others. They have been given gifts, and they have been given an ordained instruction. I'm not saying who has it and who doesn't. I'm not looking at nobody's chart to tell you if they got Mercury conjunct Neptune or whatever, and they embellishing the story. I don't know. But I'm just saying, just like you wouldn't entrust somebody with your physical body, don't entrust everybody telling you they got the keys and the answers to what's missing for you emotionally and spiritually. And some people, you don't need a reading. You might need some other level of, assistance, because there's levels to it. Therapy, coaching, they're not all the same. You know what I mean? They're not all the same. Psychotherapy, if you're about to jump off of a bridge because you just lost your job and broke up with your wife, you don't need a reading at that moment. You need a whole nother level of intervention. And a reading is not going to help you at that moment. So that's another topic that I'll address it at a different time. But I just want to wrap this up and pretty much say thank you guys. Check in with your frequency. Ask yourself why you're doing something 5-6 times. Watch what you expose yourself to. Keep your frequency high. Use your heart as your GPS, not after the fact. And that way you can arm yourself in the best way possible in the event that you encounter spiritual entities or physical entities that don't want to see you win. Okay? So I'm going to wrap this video up. Good luck, everybody. We only have a couple more days of Mars and Mercury at the end of the month. They will station direct, so should have a lot more momentum, and the things going on in your life. Please hit me up if you want to ask me a question, or you want to know, as a Scorpio, if you want to know how Uranus retrograde is playing out in your 7th house of partners and what's going on with your relationship or whatever, hit me up. I'll do the reading. And that's all I want to say, guys. Okay, this was interesting holding this for this amount of time, but I love this device. Okay, everybody, take care.